Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 98.3. I'm ready to go because I know you're about to get a heck of a show. You're going to hear so much on this show. You're going to hear some sound bites from politics past where it sounded like everyone agreed with just going through the budget line by line and making drastic cuts and trying to balance the budget. You're also going to hear we now have some audio of the people who survived that plane crash yesterday. I actually got to finally see the video of the crash as it happened. It happened like during the James Show yesterday. And so I'm going to be able to play some of that for you. We have a lot going on in Austin that I think you're not going to be happy with the news, but you definitely need to hear it. So try and stick around for the whole show if you can. If you got to go into the store and come back, be sure to come back to WBAP. Or if you get pulled away from the show, come back and check out the podcast later. Top story, though, is going to be the weather yet again. And here we are. Allison Prater from the National Weather Service is joining us. And when is it getting here? Because I was told that we were going to be preceded by some light showers, and then it would get cold after that. And we're having some light showers, but when is the cold getting here?
Yeah, so the front has already moved through, but the true cold is lagging just a little bit. Doesn't look like DFW will get below freezing until about 4 to 6 p.m. this evening, and that's when we're concerned that the precipitation will start to go to freezing rain and freezing drizzle.
Okay, so later this evening?
Yes, the true cold behind the front will be 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay, what's going to be the coldest it gets?
The coldest it'll get will be overnight, looks like on Thursday, so tomorrow morning or Thursday morning. Looks like temperatures will be between 13 and 15 degrees.
That's pretty cold. How long will it take before it warms back up to relative normal?
So it'll be towards the end of the week where we'll get to near to above normal. So we're below normal the rest of the week. But we won't get above freezing until potentially Thursday afternoon for just a couple of hours.
Is there going to be snow?
Right now we're just looking at freezing rain. There could be some snow up more towards along the Red River. But for DFW, it looks more just of a freezing rain situation.
We're getting some of the just real pathetic, lame drizzle right now. Is this going to cause any problems? Are we going to have to worry about icy roads tonight?
So right now we're just looking at minimal ice accumulation. So there could be some slick spots on roads, particularly untreated roads and elevated bridges and overpasses through tomorrow morning.
All right, Allison, you're at the National Weather Service all day looking at this. I just spent a few minutes comparing my notes from yesterday to today, and it looks like there's been a shift downward of the lowest temperatures, but it matches so much the front that we had last month, where we did have some portions of our listening area getting snow, but they were mostly to the north and to the west of where I'm broadcasting from, and it seems like it's almost the same line, the same boundary. If you got snow last month, you are probably going to get into single-digit temperatures this month. That's the pattern I noticed. Does that sound about accurate?
So we can't really compare different systems to each other like that in that kind of a way. But this is colder than what we experienced last month. So we are getting colder temperatures than we were last month.
Does this front seem to be moving faster than the average front?
It's moving faster than we expected. So it's a few hours earlier than we expected overnight and yesterday.
All right. So that means probably won't stick around as long as the last one did. That sounds pretty good.
No, it'll push through pretty quickly.
Do we have any other cold fronts that are going to come in behind it?
No, but we are concerned about the cold temperatures continuing. And breezy winds behind the front are going to put wind chills in the mornings, very cold, between about 5 to -5.
Is there going to be any more precipitation after today?
Not through the rest of the week. There could be some precipitation on Saturday, but it looks to be more south of the Metroplex towards central Texas.
All right. Is there anything I should have asked that I didn't?
I think we just want people to be aware that it's going to be very cold tomorrow morning and Thursday morning, so just make sure to bundle up and prepare your house. But looking back to next week, Monday and Tuesday looks to be highs in the mid-70s. So
that's what I'm talking about. All right, Allison Prater,
nice.
National Weather Service, thank you very much for your expertise. Appreciate it. So the area has some warming centers opening up around North Texas for the freezing temperatures. In fact, one of them was already full, so they had to open the bigger one at Fair Park, the regular one that most people is almost always open, or I should say open first, at Hickory Street down here. The other one, the one at Fair Park, the Place building, can support another 900 people. And the folks from Our Calling manage the day-to-day operations there. And that's a good Christian group. Thank you very much, Christians, for stepping up. You'll never get the credit for it, but you'll get it here. Also, there's a good list on WFAA.com if you're needing a place to stay. And if you're thinking, well, if someone's listening to talk radio in the middle of the afternoon, they're probably not homeless. No, people live in their cars, or people are leaving their husbands and don't have a place to stay, or, there's all kinds of situations here. So if you need to find a place, go find one. There's a lot of Salvation Armies that are opening up. There's the Presbyterian Night Shelter that is opening up in Fort Worth, the Union Gospel Mission, the Salvation Army on Lancaster. There is quite a few. So there's going to be some options for you. But if you want to notice like something interesting that I noticed, because I'm quite biased, most of these, almost all of these, are Christian based. Like the one at Fair Park, that's not happening at a church or a Salvation Army, which is an inherently Christian organization, but it is manned and staffed by volunteers and some paid people from Our Calling, which is a Christian group. So I'm looking over here, like here's the Arlington Salvation Army. Well, there's one in Dallas, there's Denton, Louisville, Fort Worth. I mentioned the Presbyterians over in Fort Worth, and we had the Union Gospel Mission over in Fort Worth. And this is weird because you know what I don't see here? I don't see any atheists stepping up. Where y'all at? All you people who protest against Christianity, or you go hold picket signs whenever there's a sexual assault at a big church, and all you people who make these horrible videos talking about how, well, Trump's not really a Christian, no Christian could support it, blah, blah, blah. Show us up. Show us up. If we're all just a bunch of self-centered hypocrites, where you at? Where you at on this one? At least we do this. What are you doing? Nothing. And it's not like I don't want them to. It's not like I delight in this. I would happily, I would almost be ecstatic to announce that there's an atheist-run warming shelter for people out there. But I can't, because I don't see one. If I'm missing it, call in. Let me know. I'll be happy to promote them as well. All right, some more updates from the headlines. And I got some feedback on the topic yesterday where I was having a little bit of concern about schools preemptively closing before there's even any wild weather. We'll talk about that next on The James Show. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, sports fans. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app, and things are rolling this week. We have a little extra action because not only do you have professional basketball, college basketball, we're getting into the hot part of the season for you guys, and soccer's still going on, and the Four Nations hockey tournament. You can still get some action out of that, and they're going to be playing. The next game for that is Thursday at 7:10. So you can go say, hey, the U.S. goalie on the hockey team, 27 and a half saves. Do you think he's going to get more or less than that? It really is that simple. You build a lineup like that of 2 to 6 players, and the more picks you make, the higher your earnings can be, all the way up to 1,000 times your cash. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app, over 10 million users in more than 30 states. Yes, even Texas. It's totally legal. So go check it out and play with my money. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, and you get $50 in promo cash with your first $5 play. Download the app, promo code WBAP, and then you get $50 in promo cash to play with. Maybe win some real money, and you can thank me later. Prize Picks. Run your game. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show. Stay warm. It's about to get super duper cold. In fact, we're in the weird situation now. This doesn't happen very often. But the James Show starts at 2 o'clock. It's over at 5. It is going to be colder at the end of the James Show, according to some of the models here. It's going to be colder at the end of the James Show than it is at the beginning. That does not happen very often. You got any comments? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Brian and Terrell, you're on the James Show. What you got?
Hey, James, I just wanted to start off by saying, yes, I am an atheist, but I'm not one of those crazy atheists that try to sue everybody for everything.
Yeah, most of them aren't.
What I love about our country is I have the freedom to not believe in something, just like y'all have the freedom to believe in something. But what I wanted to say is I used to be homeless. I'm not now, but I will not donate to any kind of homeless charity. But if I see a homeless person and they are struggling, I'll give them a blanket. I've given them tents. I'll buy them a meal. I'll help the individual, but I won't help an organization.
Well, now you're an interesting guy to talk to. Why won't you donate to homeless organizations when you yourself used to be homeless? You must know something we don't.
Because I have seen money that was donated for causes literally in front of my face go to something else.
Yeah.
So I will donate to an individual, but I will not donate to an organization.
There's not one organization that meets your requirements or passes your smell test?
No, I can't say that there is. I used to be Christian. I spent 3 years in the Catholic seminary, but I saw so much hypocritical stuff personally that I just started not believing in anything. And like I said, I believe in the freedom of everyone to believe in what they want to believe. I'm not a law-suing type person.
How come you atheists don't get together and come up with your own charitable organizations and like warming shelters and homeless shelters and missions like the Christians? And I even see Muslims and Jews do it.
Well, with that being said, I work for the state health care agency. I work at Terrell State Hospital, so I feel I do what I need to do, helping we get homeless in there, so I help them to work.
Well, and I don't mean that just to backhand atheist. I think there's a place for an atheist charitable network, because one of the things that I've noticed, whether I've been here in Dallas or when I was in New Orleans, same thing. So I just assume this is universal now. There are homeless shelters with empty beds while there's still homeless people on the street. And there'll be homeless people just a block away, and they don't want to go to the shelter because they don't like the rules of the shelter. And they've told me specifically, I've interviewed, God, probably 100 homeless people at this point. I've just been doing this a long time. And most of them say that they don't want to follow the rules. Yeah, I can go to the New Orleans mission, but they make you sit through like a half-hour Bible study, and you can't smoke, and you can't drink, and they have all these dumb rules. And what could the atheists then pick up some of that slack? Because I would rather them go to like the atheist shelter where you don't have to study anything or listen to some dumb Bible study, and you can do all of your drugs, or maybe y'all have needles for them or whatever. It just seems like there's actually a place for atheists to step up and help with the homeless problem, because the Christians, because we have so many silly rules, we leave some holes. We leave people on the street, or people voluntarily go on the street because they don't want to follow the rules. So it's not just a complaint against atheists. I think there's an actual market for that. It's probably the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying.
I do. But with that being said and done, outside of me and my wife, I can't say that I actually know another atheist. So
stop
I don't
it.
actually go out trying to find groups to get together with.
Well, I know a few out and out atheists. I know a lot of people who call themselves agnostic. They don't think there's a God, but they recognize that, ontologically speaking, they can't prove or disprove a God. So they just call themselves agnostic. And, I think I have more respect for the agnostic than the atheist. And that's no diss to you. It's just that at least they're self-aware enough to admit that, hey, man, I don't even know enough to have a strong opinion on it. Where atheists, you just have the one hole where who created all this? Like creation. There was nothing, and then nothing happened, and then suddenly there was everything, but it wasn't acted upon by a supernatural force. That just seems to break with the otherwise logical positions y'all take?
However you want to look at it, I believe that nature does what nature does. Whatever happens, it just happens.
You sure
That's
you're not more
pretty
just a
much what I
deist?
believe.
Okay. Well, how did you get out of being homeless?
I just got tired of it, and I asked for help, and I asked a family member for help, and I got it, and now I am doing better. I've sobered up.
What was your drug?
Quit drugs, quit drinking.
What was
quit
your drug?
everything. Crystal meth and coke,
Okay.
and any kind of pill I could get my hands on.
Yeah, I feel like if you're homeless, like cocaine's probably out of your budget, isn't it? You probably lean hard into the crystal meth. I don't know what the economics of it are, but I'm glad you got out of it. That's a great story because not everybody does. And man, look, even though we kind of get used to seeing it, like deep down inside, all of us, unless we're a psychopath, our hearts break whenever we see a homeless person, especially when it's super cold. Brian, thank you very much for calling in and telling your story.
Have a great day.
All right, good stuff. See? I have concern about it's been my experience in being a talk radio host for a couple decades here that when people disagree with you, they're kind of, I don't want to say they're scared to call, but it doesn't sound like as fun of a proposition as the people who agree with me calling in and being like, yeah, let me add something to your point, or here's something you didn't think of, or yeah, I volunteered at a homeless shelter and here's what you don't know. Don't do that. Don't do that. Listen, I can't only talk to people I agree with. I have some crazy views that almost nobody agrees with. And if we can't talk to people with differing views, then I'm not going to have any friends. Okay, I'll check that. Because how many people are out and out right-wing, conservative-minded Christians, but also want every single drug to be legalized? Right. I'm a weirdo. There's not a whole lot of people who agree with me. So please do not hesitate to call, or don't use the idea that just because we disagree that you shouldn't be as enthusiastic about calling the James Show. Quick news update. Thank you, Bruce. TxDOT is closing DFW Texpress lanes ahead of the arrival of winter weather, and that totally makes sense because so many of those are stuck up on sticks way up in the air in the wind, and that'd probably be the first thing to freeze every time it happens. North Texas TxDOT is closing managed express lanes in Texas due to incoming cold front and wintry weather. So look, that just happened right after the James Show started. I passed it along to you. If you want to join the show, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Polar Vortex coming to Texas. Got any thoughts? Coming up next, we have a bunch of federal workers who are getting laid off. What do you do when you get laid off? We'll talk about that next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. CJ wants to wish you happy Tuesday, safe travels, home, weather coming. Yeah, we saw that. The cold weather's coming in. I'm in downtown Dallas right now. We're having the drizzles. And after that, the temperature's just going to start to slowly drop. And it's supposed to get down to where I'm sitting right now. We're expecting the low to be around 16. 16. That's awful. Meanwhile, there's been a bunch of cuts in D.C., and it's a good time to talk to Betsy Allen Manning. You know, she can help you navigate the workplace. And let's just talk to the basics. Whether you were in the federal government or not, a lot of people can relate to being laid off. You know how many times I've been laid off? I think 4, I think it is, in my radio career, and then twice when I was a coder before that. So, yeah, I've been through this quite a bit, Betsy.
Yeah, it's happening. Not like you said, not just federal government. Man, they're hitting airlines, tech, manufacturing, and it's a problem right now. And employees left behind are starting to job hunt because they're wondering, am I the next that's going to be cut? And you know, if you've been through this, right? It takes a toll on your mental health. It takes a toll on you emotionally and physically. So there's a lot you need to do to prepare if you've been laid off, if you think you could be laid off, but also for the leaders that are dealing with the layoffs and managing that culture right now.
Well, it's hardened me quite a bit, Betsy, because I see the stories like you realize every person that's laid off in D.C. is someone with a family and a future, and they don't know how they're going to put food on the table. It's like, yeah, I know exactly what that's like. It's okay. It happens to a lot of people. So, you know, we don't have a lot of federal workers around here, especially compared to D.C., but I did see that more than 24 Dairy Queens are closing in Texas. And, you know, it's not all teenagers pulling the ice cream. A lot of these are managers and general managers and suppliers. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of people losing their job for that as well. What's the first thing you would recommend someone do if they get laid off?
Yeah, if this is you and losing your job, it's a shock, right? It's a shock. Even when you see it coming, it's still a shock. But here's the good news. It's not the end. It's a pivot point. Best thing you can do is take control of what comes next. So take a beat, but don't stall, right? Feel what you need to feel. Feel the anger, the frustration, the stress, but don't let those emotions paralyze you, because the sooner you start strategizing, the sooner you'll land on your feet. So get your finances in order. Leverage the network that you have. 80% of jobs are landed through networking, not cold applications.
Yep.
Update your resume on LinkedIn. Upskill and adapt. Maybe your industry is unstable, so consider online certifications or freelance work, and manage your mental health, because it is a life disruption. So if you need to, seek support from family or friends during this time.
Well, when you have a job like mine, one of the questions you ask every time you're laid off is like, do I even stay in this industry, or do I go try and do something else? And what does that conversation look like, Betsy?
It could be a great time to rebrand yourself. If you've been looking to upskill, learn something new, AI technology, for instance, there are a lot of jobs right now that are hiring, especially in the tech space. Yes, they're laying off in the tech space as well, but there are a lot of jobs that are hiring. I would say right now, if you're someone that's been laid off, look at upskilling. Look at rebranding yourself. And if you feel like you could be laid off or more layoffs could be coming your way, then stay proactive there. Start looking at, how do I make myself valuable to my company so that they don't want to lay my position off? But you also want to prepare like it may have already happened, right? So update that resume. Make sure your LinkedIn is polished and ready to go. Get everything in order now so you can move fast if needed.
So I have one little personal trick that I've used to sort of alleviate some of the pain from a layoff, and that's always have a second job. Now, it's not going to be a second full-time job. I'm not working 90 hours a week, but I always keep some little side gig tucked away somewhere. So if this goes away, at least I don't go all the way down to zero.
Oh, so smart. So smart to do that. I've worked 3 jobs before to make ends meet back in the day. You know, we do what we have to do. Sometimes you need to go and get some government help if that's necessary at that time. But always looking at what's in my back pocket just in case.
Well, and I always think for the people, if you really hate getting laid off and you never want to get laid off again, the one way to do it is go into business for yourself.
There we go. There you have it. Yeah. The best thing you can do anyway is diversify your income, right? can you pick up freelance work, a side gig? It may be just one more way to reduce the financial hit if you do get let go.
So you have training programs on your website. You're not doing the upskilling thing for people, are you?
Well, we're helping predominantly with leadership because when it comes to these layoffs right now, leaders are having a massive problem. Their job after layoffs is not damage control, it's culture control. And if you don't communicate a clear path forward, your best employees will assume that they need to find one elsewhere.
Boy, isn't that the truth? There is nothing that'll bring down the party quicker than losing a few of your friends in the workplace.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to be the one laid off to feel the impact, right? When those pink slips fly, even survivors will start job hunting as well. And if the leaders who don't address the fallout, they're leaving the door wide open for even bigger talent drain, right? And we've got 42% of Gen Z employees already looking for a new job. Companies can't afford to lose their best people because they didn't address the current problems with the layoffs.
All right, Betsy Allen Manning, Destination Workplace Expert. Another big layoff that just got announced here in DFW is Southwest is having their first in their corporate history wide round of layoffs. Any pieces, nuggets of wisdom for them?
Yeah, well, for which one? Because we've got the
Southwest is the big
right,
one.
The employees or the leaders? Because I mainly address with the leaders. It's something to remember that after layoffs, the employees who stay are watching you closely. They're going to ask, does this company value me? Do I have a future here? And if leaders don't step up and answer those questions, they'll lose people who weren't even on the chopping block.
All right,
so it's time to do that culture control.
I just looked at the clock. We're out of time. BetsyAllenManning.com is her website. She's got a bunch of good videos on YouTube if you want to check that out. Betsy Allen Manning, Destination Workplace Expert is how it's labeled. Thank you very much for your time again. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too.
Thanks, Betsy. You got any advice for those that are getting laid off? I feel for those Southwest people, man, because Southwest is my airline. That's the one where I think if I've taken 100 flights in my life, I think 95 of them were on Southwest. Guys, good luck, man. I have been there, and that is not fun. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Doge updates next on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's do some Doge updates. I'm really loving this story because there's so much that I thought was just sort of a bipartisan, accepted by everyone in society, that we could all agree on. And one of them is, let's go line by line through the budget, find silly spending programs that do not benefit the American taxpayer and cut them. I thought that was universally agreed on, not just because, I heard good old Elon Musk support this, not because I heard Donald Trump support this, but because I've heard this from both sides my entire life. So just to give you a review, here's a bunch of people on Team Blue supporting
This report
cuts.
tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape,
Oh, it's Al Gore.
streamline
Remember
the
him.
bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it, and where it says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress and legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste. And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not acting. There you go.
So how did we go from that to government cuts are killing people? CBS News.
President Trump's move to freeze foreign aid spending is already creating chaos in countries around the world. Janice Mankey Freyer traveled to Cambodia to see the impact on work and America's reputation firsthand.
Our reputation.
The delicate and dangerous task of clearing unexploded bombs in Cambodia. Deminers using simple tools and every day finding something.
So you just blow it up where it is?
Blow it up right where it is.
We have to move back here so we can get out of the way.
2, 3.
See,
Many of the munitions here.
with these government cuts, people are going to die. People are going to walk through minefields and die. People, look, you didn't hear any of those stories when Bill Clinton and Al Gore went through and cut 380,000 federal workers. There was no concern about these are people with families. These are people with children. These are people with mortgages. They're not going to know what to do. And you're just going to displace all these people. And yeah. Whatever happened when Bill Clinton cut 380,000, that's what they're going to do. When you didn't care when he did it, that's what they're going to do here. Don't worry about them. Worry about the taxpayer for 5 seconds, like you used to. But I think they're just caught in some sort of weird tornado of whatever Trump says, whatever Elon says, we're just going to report on it as bad. Because that's their mode. 94% of the news coverage during the election cycle was negative to Trump. So that's just their standing mode. You don't even have to tell them to do it anymore. That's just what they do with the news. Like, hey, what happened today? Well, what did Trump say that makes him look the worst? We're going to make that our headline. Well, I don't think this is going to work. I think most people understand that, hey, maybe we don't need to be spending $45 million for coloring books in Albania or whatever they're doing. Maybe there is some stuff that we used to like cuts. We used to like the idea of, saving the taxpayer some money and reducing the deficit and reducing inflation. We talked positive about that for all of our entire lives until a month ago. It's very suspicious. And then you have the weird thing that's happening in Texas right now where we now have our own Doge. Did you hear about the Doge at the Texas level? Don't worry. It's an absolute farce. I have a guest coming up at like 4:30, Brian Harrison. I assume you're not going to be around then, so I just pulled a clip from him. Here he was on another show talking about the Texas Doge.
You know who killed all those bills? Dustin Burrows. our current speaker. He stopped them. And now, in order to compensate for the fact that he is the one that protected the regulatory state, he's the one that protected COVID vaccine mandates in Texas, he has now formed a committee. And he's calling it the Doge Committee. And they're tweeting at Elon Musk like this morning, hey, look at us, we're doing Doge too. The same people that did everything they could to protect the bureaucratic state, to protect.
So we're going to get a full rundown at 4:30, but so far today, that's your Doge update. There's two things you can do to follow Doge more closely if you're already on Twitter or X. Go follow at Doge, D-O-G-E, or you can go to doge.gov, and they just have a repeat of the Twitter feed going up there, and they're giving you all the cuts they found, all the weird things they found, the oddities, the people who are 150 years old. You can go find it. It's transparency like we haven't seen before. So go check that out. Man, I wish I had more time. Still coming up on the James Show, we're going to talk a little bit more about the weather, and I'll let you know when it's going to get cold. Jim Dutton from Texas Home Improvement is going to tell you what you can do to get your house prepared. And also the Outlaw Music Festival 2025 coming to Dos Equis Pavilion on July 5th. This is the one with Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. That's pretty awesome. You can get tickets now at livenation.com, or it's one of the contests we have going on WBAP where you text the word outlaw. So it's the same number as our call-in number, 800-288-9227. Text the word outlaw to 800-288-9227. You'll be entered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan July 5th. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I got to throw in Oklahomans there every once in a while because I just got a tweet from Durant that says they're getting little pieces of ice falling out of the sky. So, hey, we have our first report of frozen precip. We decided that's going to be the term we use on the James Show because that's what all the cool kids are saying. Thank you, Folselgert, for the Oklahoma update. They're getting ice in Durant. Well, my next guest is going to help you get prepared for the cold weather that's starting now. And we're going to take a look at your home. Hey, look, it's Jim Dutton, host of Texas Home Improvement on the James Show. Welcome back, Jim. Doing great. All right. So I think for most of us, this isn't going to be a big event, but we do have the people who are north of us and northwest of us who this is going to be a little more severe. And I think they may need to take a look at their home. Where would they start, Jim, getting ready for the cold? Wait. They're called bibs? I thought they were faucets. Well, thank you for teaching me. Correct me if I get anything else wrong, Jim. I don't want to sound like a fool. Okay, so I put the little styrofoam things on my bibs. It has the little cord that you pull with the push button and sticks on there. So I've got 2 of those on the outside of my house. What else do I need to do? Yeah, and I heard this is most important if you have piping in a north-facing wall. Yeah, at a time like this, I always, or I often, like to go check for leaks, like around my door, because I have dogs that want to scratch when they get out, and just have they whipped out enough weather stripping for me to have to replace it before it gets really cold? What are some more little tips like that? So what if I have that pull down space in the garage? Oh man, I didn't even think of that because I do have pipes going all over my attic, and they're not very robust. It's PVC pipes, so I've never done that before. All right, Jim Dutton, what are y'all talking about on Texas Home Improvement? That would be perfect for this weekend, wouldn't it? What else you got going on? All right, sounds great. Jim Dutton, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Stay warm, Jim. Appreciate it. Jim Dutton, Texas Home Improvement. on the James Show. All right, coming up next, we're going to take a look at some of the criticisms that are happening with what's going on in D.C. and see if they actually have some legit points or they're just doing the orange man bad thing. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You know, we just had a little bit of drizzle here in downtown, and from here on out, the temperatures are going to just keep getting colder, and we're expected, where I'm sitting, it's going to get down to about 16. But if you're north and northwest of Dallas, and maybe even far west of Dallas, you may be experiencing single-digit temperatures before this all warms back up. So be safe out there. Take care of your pets and your house and your car, and be safe on the roads and whatnot. And keep it here on WBAP, because we're going to have the constant weather updates. We are your News Talk weather traffic station. Thank you very much. It's our chance to brag. But if something that'll warm you up is what's going on with Doge. You know, you've heard a lot about the cuts, and I think if you're an all-day listener, you heard a good rundown of cuts on the Dan Bongino show right before we started here. I'm also getting quite a bit of, I don't know, it's not funny when people lose their job, and it's not funny because I've been in this situation, and I feel sorry for these people. I just wonder about the highlighting of it on 60 Minutes. They have these two workers here that got laid off from the USAID shutdown. And listen to this sob story that they get here.
People are really scared. I think that, 12 days ago, people knew where their next paycheck was coming from. They knew how they were going to pay for their kids' daycare, their medical bills, and then all gone overnight.
All gone.
Can you, repeat that for me.
Overnight for Christina Dry and Adam Dubard, fired this month in the chaotic shutdown of foreign aid.
Now, do you realize how dishonest that is? It's not all gone overnight. They have 8 months of severance. When you got laid off, did you get 8 months of a paycheck? I didn't. I've been laid off a few times. Never happened. So no, it wasn't all just ripped out from under them. They don't have to go home and look at their kids and say, I don't know how I'm going to feed you tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to keep a roof over your head. I've had to do that. You've probably had to do that. Most of America had to do that. And 60 Minutes didn't run any of these stories when they were kicking us out of our jobs during COVID, when they were firing us for the vaccine mandates, for all the pilots that got fired at DFW and Love Field. Did 60 Minutes come and talk to you? For all the teachers that got kicked out of their profession for not doing the vaccine, did 60 Minutes come get your sob story? For all the soldiers, the active duty military that were booted out of the military for not getting the vaccine. And where you at? Were you on that one, 60 Minutes? For all you other people that are telling sob stories, for the poor people who lost their job, and now they no longer get to have funding birthday parties in Bolivia or whatever they were doing. Pin the tail on the donkey or something. No sob stories there? Oh, that's so weird. Anyway, we continue.
Distributed by the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. More than 8,000 USAID employees were sent home.
Look, I like how he says that like it's a bad thing, but are you hearing like that? 8,000? We can get that. Those are rookie numbers, man. We got to get those numbers up. That's all. You know, Bill Clinton cut 380,000. Did you come in 60 Minutes and interview a couple of the people whose lives were destroyed by Bill Clinton cutting 380,000 federal workers? No, that didn't happen. Here's another part of this narrative that you're going to like. Over on Zero Hedge, someone did a breakdown of the internet search trends in Washington, D.C. So some of the giant changes in internet searches you're going to love. Number one, the biggest change in search terms that happened in D.C. was for RICO law meaning. What? That's up 700%? RICO charge is up 300%. RICO statute is up 250%. What is RICO law is up 100%. You're seeing all kinds of weird, it's not even that weird, almost expected if you thought, if your worldview that half of DC is a criminal enterprise. But here's some more suspicious search trends. Criminal defense lawyer is up. Swiss bank is up. Offshore bank is up. Wire money is up. IBAN is up. That's for International Banking Exchange. These people, are they trying to move a bunch of their stolen goods offshore? Because that's exactly what you would look up. Why else are you looking up Swiss bank, offshore bank, wire money, IBAN? Well, they've all spiked dramatically since Trump got in office. Go look at it's on zerohedge.com. You can go check it out yourself. They've got the charts and everything. WikiLeaks published their own rundown of some interesting trends that they saw. DC area searches for wipe and erase and BleachBit are up. Remember BleachBit? That's what Hillary Clinton used to clean off her server with all the illegal stuff on it. I mean, we don't know it's illegal because she BleachBitted it, but why else would you do it? You're not trying to hide marshmallow pie recipes or whatever. Washington, D.C. area searches for the word lawyer have gone up 400%, according to Google Trends, too. Isn't this what a big band of people who are ripping off everyone would be searching for? Statute of limitations is up in the last 90 days. It spiked as well. This is fantastic. Isn't this great? This is what you wanted. Part of me wonders, why didn't he do this the last time? Isn't this kind of what he promised? And are you enjoying the claim that this is some sort of wild constitutional crisis? Oh my goodness, we're in a constitutional crisis. Can you believe this? Someone's trying to, what, rein in the government to its constitutionally mandated size? Constitutional crisis.
New warnings of a constitutional crisis just weeks into Trump's second term.
The stage is set for a constitutional crisis.
Could this signal the start of a constitutional crisis?
Legal experts say our country could be headed toward a constitutional crisis.
They're calling this a constitutional crisis.
This is a constitutional crisis.
I am unapologetic in suggesting we are in a constitutional crisis right now.
Are we already in a constitutional crisis?
Those two words, right? Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis. All of D.C. has been a constitutional crisis your entire life. Every undeclared war is a constitutional crisis. Most of the agencies in D.C. are a constitutional crisis. They're in clear violation of the 10th Amendment. Department of Education, where's that in the Constitution? Where is the federal government giving an authority over making education decisions? It's not. So the 10th Amendment says that's reserved for the states and the people respectively. So no constitutional crisis there. No one's never worried about that constitutional crisis. If you think trimming government down to the borders that it was given in the Constitution is a constitutional crisis, you have it exactly 180 degrees backwards. This is an attempt to return D.C. to its constitutionally mandated limits because we went past them a long time ago. Constitutional crisis. What part of the Constitution is being violated exactly? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more weather action here. It's actually starting to get cold, so we'll check in with a meteorologist from the National Weather Service on the James Show. Also, Brian Kilmeade is coming back to town February 26th. That is going to be, is that next week? Yeah. So he'll be in town for another event where he's going to come in and they're going to do an hour or two live broadcast on KLIF because he's their mid-morning guy over there. And then he'll take questions from the crowd and you can meet him, hang out, have a beer. I'll be there. I think Garrett's going to be there. I'm trying to talk other WBAP people into going. Clayton Neville and Sybil Summers from KLIF are going to be there. Miss Parker's going to be there. Hi, Miss Parker. So come on out, communitybeer.com, February 26th. It starts at 6 o'clock, and it's going to run technically for 2 hours, but we'll hang out for 3 or 4 hours. Come on out. Say hi. Meet us. Details at communitybeer.com or KLIF.com. Weather updates next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there. Welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right, the cold weather's moving through our listening area right now. Joining me again on the James Show, Allison Praetner from the National Weather Service. And Allison, thank you for coming back. I have reports from a listener. Oh, thank you. I have reports from a listener about them getting some light ice falling in Durant, Oklahoma. So there's some freezing precip out there.
Yes, so we do have the freezing line moving through the Metroplex as we speak. It'll continue to move through over the rest of the afternoon, and we could see some freezing precipitation in the Metroplex between 6 and 9 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, and I'm also seeing a little bit of precipitation sort of to our south and east, kind of between Ennis and Corsicana, and then a bigger one that's down there like halfway to Houston, so like Buffalo, Centerville, Madisonville area. There's no chance of that freezing, right? Isn't it considerably warmer to our south and east?
Yes, that's ahead of the front, and that'll stay liquid as it moves east.
All right. So if you're to the north and west, though, we're already, anytime I hear about ice falling out of the sky here in Texas, we just have to assume bad driving conditions.
So we're expecting minimal ice accumulations with this event, but there still could be slick spots on roads. Any water that had already fallen today as it gets below freezing could freeze on roads, and elevated roadways and bridges and overpasses could become slick. So we just want people to be careful.
Yeah, my kids are looking for you to say that specific term, Allison, black ice, because if that comes over the radio or over the media, there's a good chance that school will be closed tomorrow. Do you think the schools are going to be open for most of our listening area?
I can't really say anything on that. It's up to the ISDs.
Yeah, they didn't really run over that meteorological school. I thought maybe you would put together some of these patterns, though. But everything else, though, staying about the same as when we talked a couple hours ago. Still expected to get down to the teens here, but maybe single digits in the north.
Yes, the only thing that's really changed over the last couple of hours is there's a little higher chance for some light flurries tonight, mainly near area lakes within DFW. Minimal localized accumulations of snow are expected overnight.
Oh, so the more precip on the way.
Yeah, so just generally some localized snow amounts, nothing too crazy.
Well, you're using the magic word snow. You're not saying freezing ice or sleet or whatever. So actual snow?
Yeah, it'll be very dry snow. It won't be any wet, dense snow, but it'll be very dry.
I was under the impression, dry snow. I was under the impression it wouldn't snow at all for us. Like once this rain stopped, it was going to be done.
Yeah, so what this is called is more lake effect snow. And so that colder air is moving over warmer waters, and that's allowing snow to form.
Just from going over like Lake Louisville and Ray Roberts
so
and stuff?
The larger north to south lakes have a chance of seeing some snow on the southern extent or the southern end of the lakes.
Yeah, we hear them say that a lot on the national news when they talk about how Buffalo got like 18 inches of snow in an hour. It's lake effect snow, or Rochester or something like that. So I guess we just have little mini versions of that. So are we still looking at the same timetable on warming back up?
Yeah, so we're going to warm back up to above freezing, more likely on a Thursday for just a couple hours. And then really Friday onward is when we start to really peak above freezing fully. And then by Monday, we'll be back in the 70s.
Are you from around here, or do you get amused at how big of babies we are about cold weather?
I'm from Amarillo, so I'm a little bit more familiar with the snow.
Yeah, y'all get actual snow. Y'all get like feet of snow, and it accumulates. I'd lived in Woodward, Oklahoma for like 1 year, and I was just amazed. Like snow stayed on the ground for almost 3 straight months, Allison. And I'm from here, so that just blew my mind. I'd never seen such a thing. But it's also good to see that life can continue even if there's ice that falls out of the sky.
Yes, that indeed does happen.
All right. So anything else that's changed since we talked at like 2:05?
Yep, that's really it.
All right. There's your update, y'all. Thank you very much, Allison, from the National Weather Service. You know, I'm looking into this service. You know, Our Calling is the group that is running the shelter to get homeless people out of the cold, and they had to open the extra space in Fair Park, and it's run by this organization specifically helping homeless people. They have an app. I'm thinking about getting this app in looking through it and reporting on it for you. But supposedly, you get this app. You're not homeless. We're not worried about you. But if you see a homeless person, you can pull up the app and report it to these people, and they'll at least send some volunteers to go talk to them. Like, hey, if you would like to go inside, we can help you out. Do you need anything? Do you need some water? Do you need some toothpaste and a toothbrush? How can I help you? And if this is really as good as it sounds, this looks like an amazing thing that maybe we should embrace a little bit more here on the James Show. So I'm going to do a little research for you and let you know what I find on that. Also, we have some closures coming to the area. A few Dairy Queens here in North Texas are going to be closing. And also, you might have heard on the news report there, Neiman Marcus is bailing on that big fancy store downtown. I mean, that's classic. That's like one of their first locations. They've been there for 107 years. But there's a little weird twist on that. 3 years ago, they got appropriated a bunch of money from the Dallas City Council as sort of an incentive to stay downtown. And if they move, and they were supposed to stay until 2031, are they going to have to give that money back? We'll talk about it next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We're going to continue keeping an eye on this weather till it gets back to relative normal. There's some light ice that is falling, and it seems to almost know where the Red River is. It's almost all completely above the Oklahoma state line. There's a little bit of it dipping down into Wichita Falls and just south of the Red River when you're looking west of 35. So it's kind of starting to move into our area. So some of you guys that are up in the northern part of North Texas, I'm talking about our friends like in Gainesville and Whitesboro and Munster and Nacona. I think y'all are just going to start seeing some of that light ice falling right now. Now, there's some significant rain that's in the WBAP area on the fringes, like Sulphur Springs. That area is about to get hit with a chunk of water. And then that Buc-ee's that's in Madisonville, they look like they're in a monsoon right now. There's a little red dot with yellow around it, and then it kind of fades out. But it looks real gentle, the ice that is falling. And it's that storm where I had a report from a listener in Durant saying they're getting light ice falling from the sky. It's barely purple. It doesn't even get into the green, much less the yellow, orange, and red. It's just barely anything. So nothing too severe. So if you do see some ice falling out of the sky, it's not going to be too bad. You don't have to change your entire day or worry about it too much. Just keep it here, and we'll let you know when it's time to panic. More than 24 Dairy Queens are closing in the great state of Texas. And it's not just, all right, it's not just Texas ones that are closing. There's a wider shutdown of some restaurants. And when I look around here, there's one in North Richland Hills that's going away. There's one in Hillsboro that's going away. There's one in Farmers Branch on Valwood. You're losing that one. That's really the only three that I kind of consider tightly in the DFW area. Yeah, I consider Hillsboro DFW area. But if you go out to my neighbors in East Texas, man, it's a big loss out there. Because if you lose, like Nacogdoches is losing Dairy Queen, and they misspelled it on this website. Can't blame them. Nacogdoches is not easy to spell, but it's not like they have 28 Dairy Queens like we have here. They probably have just a few, maybe 3 or 4, and they're going to lose one of them. That's a big loss. If they lose it in Rusk, though, I think Rusk only has one, and they're losing it. Carthage, I think they're losing their only Dairy Queen. Wascom, I think they're losing their only Dairy Queen. Dude, that's a big hit for a small town. And I know you think, Dairy Queen is synonymous with Texas. Hang on. In some aspects, now I love Dairy Queen. I have my entire life. Big fan of the Blizzard. I love their food, especially the steak fingers. But it is not. Don't get excited. Don't. It is not a Texas company. Did you know that? Texas does have the most Dairy Queens. But let me spell out. I'm not saying this is a fraud, but it's weird how Dairy Queen has almost 2 personalities. Here in Texas, we have a different menu than all the other Dairy Queens. Yeah, the Hunger Buster, the Belt Buster, the Nolan Ryan beef. They don't do that in all the Dairy Queens. They do the Blizzard, they do the Dilly Bar, they do the Nutty Buddies, whatever they're called. But we have our own menu here. The what's the one with the chicken fried steak sandwich? The Dude. Yeah. That's a Texas thing. So this company it started in Illinois. Their headquarters is in Minnesota, I believe it was. And yeah, they have a ton. But this whole thing where when we were kids, they got Bob Phillips from Texas Country Reporter to be their spokesman. This is DQ Country. And there's Texas flags everywhere. And there's flags on the cups. And in the old commercial, they had the monkey that was riding the dog. Do you remember the monkey that was doing the roundup on the dog? That was all for us. That was all just a show for us. They didn't even show that anywhere else. So maybe they're not from here, but they've taken such a weird interest in Texas. And I don't know if they took an interest in us or we just seized on it because, we really like to get wrapped up in ourselves. But I don't know, it kind of floored me when I found out that Dairy Queen wasn't a Texas company. And I thought it was more universal, too. They have like 6,000 stores across the planet. Most of them are here, of course. Their biggest store? Where is it? Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The capital of Saudi Arabia. Well, that's cool. First, what a great place to put an ice cream shop in the middle of one of the hottest, most barren deserts the world has to offer. I mean, if there was a road leading to the middle of the Sahara, that might be a better place. But Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You know what? I am so amazed to find out how much we have in common with some of our Arab friends. You know, they love drilling for oil, and here in Texas, we love drilling for oil. High five. You guys, y'all are really serious about your religion, but, well, I guess we kind of are too around here in Texas. Another high five. Y'all like wearing flip-flops when it's hot? Oh, yeah? Y'all got sandals on all the time too? Oh, well, another high five. We have so much in common with Arab. What about guns? Y'all love guns? Yeah, they love guns. Just go out in the street and just start shooting off rounds. I mean, we don't do that here in like Highland Park, but you go just driving 2 hours in any direction. It happens. So yeah, we got a lot in common with our Arab neighbors. And to find out that they love Dairy Queen, it's like, damn, are y'all just half Texan now? I think I have more in common with, in many aspects, with people from Saudi Arabia than I do some guy from Berkeley. You know, some guy's like, oh, I don't like guns. Guns are scary. I drive a Prius. What do you drive? Well, me and my Arab friend, we drive these giant SUVs. He's in a Navigator. I'm in an Escalade. What you got? You don't like guns? You don't like big flashy cars? You don't like religion? Ugh, religion's dumb. I'm way above that. Yeah, I think in many aspects, the real Texans get along with that sort of contingency in the world, because it's not just like the Saudi Arabs. Like, I had a guy I worked with that was a Palestinian Muslim, and I had more in common with him than many of my liberal friends. We were buddies. It was great. And another big closure that's happening, this is sad, Neiman Marcus. This is going to be a little bit more of a controversy, but I am not read up enough on this to have a strong opinion. But a couple years ago, they got some incentive money from the Dallas City Council, and they appropriated them millions of dollars and in exchange for keeping your headquarters or keeping your offices in the City Place, that big building over there, and then keeping the big flagship downtown. And they're moving it. So do they have to give all that money back? And the weird part about it is when I look at what they spent a lot of that money on, it was like $200-something thousand was just on permits and licensing from the city. So the city gave Neiman Marcus money, and Neiman Marcus gave that money back to the city for permission to build and do things. Something's weird about that. But I don't know if they're going to have to give the money back. I don't know if there's some sort of out clause in the agreement. I don't know if their merger with Saks Fifth Avenue makes that all null and void, because now it's not their decision. We didn't close it down. Someone else did. I didn't know at the time that we were going to get bought out. That wasn't on the table. So that's a whole confusing situation. But I think if the contract language isn't very complimentary, that there might be a big legal issue on their hands. All right, if you got any comments, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Alabama Shakes coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory September 22nd with the Greyhounds. You can win a pair of tickets from us. Text the word Shakes, like Alabama Shakes. Text the word Shakes to 800-288-9227 for your chance to win a pair of tickets. For the rest of us, go to livenation.com. Brad Barton, Chief Meteorologist, up next on The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you freezing Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right, so for most of us, the cold weather is here. If you're considerably south of me or east of me, the temperature hasn't really started dropping on you yet. But since the James Show started at 2 o'clock, I checked the temperature, and it's gone down 6 degrees in the last 2 hours. Brad, how often does that happen when the James Show starts at 2 o'clock and by the time it ends, it's colder? That's happened maybe a couple times, but it really can only happen if there's like a cold front that hits like during my 3 hours. How rare is that? Can you even begin to answer that? Woo! Well, I have a listener reporting that there's light ice falling in Durant. Now, that was almost an hour ago. And then I look on your radar at WBAP.com, and it's just barely any color up there, that sort of grayish purple color. So that doesn't look like anything too intense, but it is wintry mix. So the people that are getting rain right now, do they have to worry about it freezing if they're to the east and south of us? Because we have in our listening area over like Cedar Creek Reservoir, GBC, all that, they're getting some pretty serious rain, but I don't think their temperatures are low enough yet for it to freeze. I'm seeing some precipitation coloring on your radar from the National Weather Service at WBAP.com that's kind of behind Wichita Falls, but moving this direction. Is that going to hit us, or is that going to go above us? It's wild how much more snow you get if you live in Wichita Falls versus Dallas. All right, it's not even far enough. You wouldn't think that'd make that big of a difference, but there's some sort of climate boundary. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Like where I'm from in Tyler, we have the experience that the further west you drive, the shorter the trees get. And so I think the weather kind of follows the tree height as well. All right, Brad, is it going to be safe to drive to work and go to school tomorrow? All right, Brad, I guess you'll take over in the morning on the morning show. What time do you have to wake up and start looking at this stuff tomorrow? All right. Well, thank you very much, Brad Barton, Chief Meteorologist, WBAP. Thank you, sir. Guy works overtime every time there's weather. That's why you're listening to us right now every time there's weather. Coming up next, I'm going to play you audio from the cell phone of a guy who was on the plane that flipped over yesterday. And it doesn't show him undoing his seatbelt and falling from the upside down position. But after he does that, he gets out his phone and he starts recording. He records himself walking out of the plane. And it's so weird seeing an upside down plane. Like the lights are at your feet. Like the little air conditioner vents and whatever are down at the bottom. And then when he walks out the plane and turns around, it looks like AI. It just doesn't look real. And I think the audio is going to sell it for you too. Coming up next on the James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM at 93.3. Man, the most amazing story yesterday was that airplane that tumped over on the runway in Toronto. I think isn't that the technical term they use? Maybe not in Canada, but here in Texas for the aviation. Because I don't know. I've never seen an airplane end up upside down before. So I'm going to start it's tump. That's what it is. And I haven't felt like this miraculous since the Sully Sullenberger landing in the Hudson. Like, you mean to tell me geese hit both of your engines, they went out, you had to dry fly into a river, ironically speaking, and not only did the plane not break apart or even sink, it floated like a boat. It just landed like a duck to land. Well, actually, ducks kind of land ugly in the water. Swans do too. But it landed gracefully on the water. No one was hurt. Everyone got out alive. Miracle on the Hudson. This is miracle on the Toronto runway. But I actually finally got to see the video of what happened. If you haven't seen it yet, you can probably find it on your social media feed. But the plane landed, and it looked like it was landing completely normal. And then the right wing just tilted down and caught the ground. Now, it almost immediately exploded off. And then the plane gently just kept going forward and slid slowly over into its overturned position. And I guess it would have kept going, but the other wing stopped it, the left wing that was still attached. And so it was a lot more genteel than I imagined it would be. I'm not saying it looked like he did it on purpose, but I can see how no one was hurt now that I saw the actual action of the plane ending up in that. I just couldn't imagine how it ended up in that position. But yeah, Bruce was the first one to say, yeah, it looks like a wing caught the ground and then just rolled over. And he was totally right. So the cool part is everyone is hanging upside down from their seat belts when the plane comes to a stop. They undo the seat belt, crew opens the door, and they just walk their happy butts out of there. Now, the guy that you're going to hear this from, he cusses a lot, but they're all beeped. Don't worry about it, Garrett. You don't have to hover over the dump button here. But a lot of times, if there's too much cussing, I will just not play the audio and describe it to you. But in this instance, I'm going to give him a pass. This guy just survived a plane crash, a miraculous plane crash, and he's just walking out of an upside-down plane. And at the very beginning, when he turns it on, you only get a glimpse of the inside of the plane for a couple seconds, but it is weird because you see carpet above your head and you see the lights and air conditioner knobs down by his feet, and he's walking on the ceiling upside down. And so you feel like, oh, is he holding the phone upside down? Because this looks wrong. No, it's right side up. And then he steps out of the portal, the door, right there onto the ice, and he turns around, and you have that feeling again. Is he holding the phone upside down? So this is just Pulitzer Prize level footage he got here. This was from yesterday's Miraculous.
Drop it. Come on. Don't take it down. Take that phone away.
Okay, now he walks out and turns around.
Holy oh my God. Yo, I was just on this plane. Oh my God. Yo, I was just on this plane. Holy.
Yeah, I would be saying that for about 2 hours. Yo, I was just on this bleeping plane that's upside down with the wing tore off. Yeah, I was just on that thing, and I'm fine. I'm alive. I'm going to go home and play some Fortnite. I can't believe this. This is amazing. And it's sort of that same level of humanity that was reached when Donald Trump got shot in the ear and survived, just because he happened to turn and look at some dumb pie chart or bar chart, some graph behind him, saved his life. And when you get that close to death, when a bullet goes through your ear but misses, the brain, or when you get in a plane crash and you just, all of y'all walk out of it alive, whether it's this or a Sully Sullenberger, how can you not have some sort of spiritual moment and think, my goodness, I guess it's not my day to die. I guess I still have some work to do here. I guess God's not done with me yet. You think anybody converted after that? You think anyone dropped their atheism or agnosticism and was like, something saved me? I don't know if it's, Jesus or Allah or the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whatever it was. Who knows? It could be the all-powerful force that the Jedis used. There's something out there. And I guess my work's not done. And for all you people who were like depressed, like 10 minutes before that, or maybe for years before that, wouldn't that cure your depression? Holy smokes, I have a whole new appreciation for life. Every breath is going to be appreciated from here on out. I don't deserve to have one more meal on this planet. I don't deserve to get one more hug from a loved one. I don't deserve to see one more Dallas Cowboys football game. But I'm gonna. That was just so amazing. And it's, we're not sociopaths. When you see an upside down airplane smoking on the runway, the first thing you think about is, oh my God, I hope all those people are okay. I hope that's not a plane full of dead people in there. Oh my God, please God, take care of those people. All of them walked out. Couple of more severe injuries, but they're going to live. The one I'm worried about now is that one baby that got hurt. But man, could have been so much worse. Oh, look, Rise, I did it. They just showed the footage on Fox News. That was amazing. That was the one I saw right before the show. So thank you, God. I think there's a handful of people in the Toronto area that owe you one now. Right? Coming up next, your state representative from the Midlothian area, from south of Dallas. He's going to be back on the show. His name's Brian Harrison. I had him on last week, and he's our watchdog now. He is an absolute pit bull that is keeping an eye on the chicanery coming out of the Texas State Legislature in Austin. Here you go. You did all the hard work. You sent an even bigger majority of Republicans to Austin, and what's happening? Are they doing the will of the voters, or are they just clogging this all up? And you're not going to like the Texas version of Doge either. Just fair warning. Brian Harrison will explain in about 5-6 minutes on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You're not going to be happy with this next segment, but you'll be happy you heard it. Representative Brian Harrison's coming back on, and until further notice, if you hear him, just hear, what'd they do this time? Brian Harrison, welcome back on. I just had you on last week, and I should have had you on for a whole hour.
James, it is great to be back on with you, my friend. And yeah, the news I have is shocking, but it's just because of the shocking levels of betrayal here in the Capitol. But you know what? Texans need to be informed, because I'm one of these old-fashioned elected officials that believe Texans, not only can they handle the truth, they deserve the truth.
All right, to start off, for people who aren't familiar, he is the Texas state representative from the district that's just south of Jasmine Crockett's district. She's on top of you, and you're down there, Midlothian. What is that, like Duncanville, DeSoto, kind of?
Do you really have to associate me with her? But yes, I am just south of Jasmine Crockett's district. Jasmine Crockett, who, by the way, should resign in dishonor because she pushed a bill, your listeners may not know this, to try and strip Donald Trump of his Secret Service detail just days before the assassin shot him. She should resign in disgrace.
Yikes. Okay. Hot sports opinion right there. Tell me about the just rank duplicity of the Texas Doge.
It's amazing. I had the real honor of serving under President Trump in his first term, and I was the chief of staff of his agency, the HHS, that delivered over half of the deregulatory savings in his first term. So Texans, they deserve deregulation. They understand that letting bureaucrats write and enforce laws and spend money without accountability, I mean, that's the definition of tyranny. And President Trump and Elon Musk, I mean, they're taking a wrecking ball to the regulatory state that threatens our liberty. And unfortunately, what we have here in Texas is we've got a corrupt liberal Texas House leadership that colluded with Democrats to take over the Texas House. But what they're trying to do is everything in their power to fool the voters of Texas, because they think you, the taxpayers, you, the voters, are too stupid to notice that, hey, they're going to grow government, which is going to increase your taxes. So they are doing things like creating fake committees and stealing some of President Trump's credibility by calling a committee a Doge committee and then telling you we're bringing Doge to Texas, hoping the Texans will be like, oh, well, these guys are great. They're doing what President Trump is. The problem is they're doing the exact opposite. While Trump is up there working 20-hour days, we've done nothing but take 5- and 6-day vacations for the 1 month of session. We've had no bills, no hearings. And President Trump has done more in 3 weeks to get rid of taxpayer-funded DEI in Texas, but they filed a bill that they telling people is going to get rid of DEI, when in reality it protects DEI and writes it into state law. And Doge is supposed to shrink government, but they forgot, or they hope you don't notice, that they released a budget that grows government in the state of Texas at a rate that would make D.C. Democrats blush. We're talking 30 to 40% explosion of government in just a 3 or 4 year period. Texans deserve to know that Republicans, who they thought were going to fight the Democrats, have colluded with the Democrats to increase spending, decrease liberty, increase taxes, and I'm going to call it out.
Good. Call it out on my show every time, because I find this more troubling, dishonest Republicans than honest Democrats. We know you send Democrats down there, they're going to grow government. You know that they love all these programs and all these social safety nets and spending money. But the Republicans went and lied to your face, got your vote, and went down there and acted like a Democrat. And I think that's far worse.
Oh, no, I've said this a lot of times. If you're dealing with somebody with the word Democrat by their name, I mean, I'm going to disagree with them. But you know what? I don't mind having a disagreement with an honest liberal. What I have no tolerance for, and what I think Texas voters have no tolerance for, is people who call themselves a Republican and run around in primaries and general elections like last year saying, vote for me, I'm a Republican, I will stand up to the radical left that want to indoctrinate the next generation, or vote for me, I will fight the leftist Democrats who are going to raise your property taxes and bankrupt our state. And then at every opportunity, they collude with those Democrats to put the very same Democrats in power and then team up with them to grow government. And every single person on this Doge committee, I think except for one, every one of them voted to grow government by over 30% last session. This thing is a farce, and Texans deserve to know what's happening in their name. And I'd say if Texans knew the extent to which so-called Republicans were betraying them. I mean, I actually view it as the greatest form of voter fraud, because what's the point of election integrity if elected Republicans just hand Democrats the power that the voters gave to Republicans? It's the greatest example of voter fraud maybe in our nation's history, in the past recent history.
Well, and it's so misinforming to the voters on both sides, because I have a guy here who's a pretty dedicated Team Blue listener, and he said he can cry all he wants. Republicans have run the state for well over a decade. The problems are the one they created. And you're making the point that Republicans have not been in charge. Dave Phelan did not run the House like a Republican. And now what's his Dustin Burrows? He's not running this in the manner of Republicans. So no, the Republicans have not got their say so.
This just broke just now. Dustin Burrows just hired a former Barack Obama White House lawyer to be the top lawyer in the Texas House of Representatives. So a Barack Obama lawyer is controlling the Texas House.
See, yeah, and so it gives you the I can see why people would come away with that impression. Well, we have problems in Texas. You can blame the Republicans. They're always in charge. No, if the Republicans were in charge, we would have school choice by now.
Right. Yep. We would have banned DEI in our K-12 in our public universities. We would have stopped taking taxes from people. Texans are being taxed out of their homes. And for what? So they can pay DEI staff and promote transgender ideology? Yeah, it's happening in a Republican so-called legislature. But what people don't know is there's a lot of people who put the word Republican by their name because they've got to be a Republican to get elected, but they're just as liberal as the Democrats. And when they get power, they literally put those very same Democrats in charge. And I'll give you one other example that I'm breaking news on here. And I don't think any media has reported this right now. It just came out within the last hour. Our new speaker, Dustin Burrows, fake liberal rhino speaker, appointed the Speaker Pro Tem, the number 2 person in the Texas House, Speaker Pro Tem, a Democrat member of the House, and just handed him, this is not a joke, breaking news, $94,000 extra for his budget. That's $94,000 he is not giving to Republicans here in the Texas House.
Okay. All right, I told you weren't going to like it, y'all. This is State Rep Brian Harrison, Republican from Midlothian, giving you the bad news, but you need to hear it. So what do we do? Are we just screwed for 2 more years? Or
well, if people can take a few minutes and call their state representative and ask them, not, what are you conservative or not? They're all going to say they are. But ask them specifically, what are you doing to stand up to the liberal, corrupt House leadership that has empowered Democrats? Ask them if they're voting for these obscene 5-day vacation weekends that we've taken every week since we're getting here. And I want to be positive about this. Like, I'm an optimistic person. I love this state. I'm a native Texan. I believe Texas should be leading the entire nation in freedom and individual liberty and low taxes and low regulations. We've got a reputation for that. But because of the corruption in the Texas House, we have just been coasting on that reputation, and we need Republicans to start acting like Republicans. Because let me tell you what, the people who know that the next generation is on the line and there is an actual battle for the future going on, that's the Democrats. And we need Republicans who are in office to fight for the future with the exact same fearlessness that the radical left does. So call your state rep, ask what they're doing to stand up to the corruption in the Texas House so that the state of Texas can once again lead the nation in the defense of liberty and freedom.
All right, Brian, I'm out of time. Can you stick around for another segment? I got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah, I can do it.
All right. State Rep Brian Harrison from Midlothian. He'll be back to answer 2 more questions on the James Show in about 4 minutes. It's Newstalk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. We continue with State Representative Brian Harrison. He's a Republican from the Midlothian District, just south of Dallas. And he's keeping you updated on what's going on with the Texas legislature. And it's really disappointing, Brian. Can we come up with an S list? You know, I can't say the whole word on radio, but I want a list of people who we need to primary, and I want to shop it around to all my radio and TV friends in Texas and try and get this list out and see if we can take care of this. Because I thought we took care of it in the last election. You know, Dade Phelan's not going to be the speaker anymore, and we primaried some of the rhinos out, but I guess there's still more.
Yeah, and one way, I'm trying to, when I mentioned I worked for President Trump, was honored to do it, and I just assumed when I got elected 3 years ago that every Republican in Texas was fighting as hard for freedom and liberty as those of us that worked for him, and I was surprised. And so one of the things I've tried to do is just ignore the so-called unwritten rules of the Texas House that have governed this corrupt body for too long, which is where you don't ever publicly criticize the House. Well, I said, screw that. The next generation's on the line. So I helped President Trump and Ted Cruz and Ken Paxton and Governor Abbott traveling around the state primarying these liberal fake Republicans, and we knocked several of them off. But clearly, we've got a lot more work to do. And so one thing I would encourage people to take advantage of the transparency I'm bringing it. If they can follow me on X, just at Brian E. Harrison, because every single day I tweet live updates from the floor, including vote sheets, because one of the things that I always joke that transparency is like kryptonite in the swamp. So what happens when there's bad votes like this, like when people took a vote to empower Democrats and make them co-chairs of every one of our committees, or voting for long 5-day weekends when we should be dealing with property taxes because Texans are being taxed out of their homes. Not only will I tell folks it happened, but frequently I'll print out a copy from the clerk, get a copy of the vote sheet, I'll take a picture of it and put it online. And that way people can know, hey, did the person that I gave my proxy, my voice, my vote to represent me in the Texas legislature, are they voting the way I want them to vote, or have they bent the knee to the corrupt, fake Republican leadership that is controlled by Democrats? And so that's just the best way I can tell folks is just follow me on X and at Brian E. Harrison and trying to spread the word. And you're doing a great job, James, and we need more people doing like you to expose Texans to what is happening in their name, because it's not just that it's happening in the name of millions of Texans who believe they voted for bold Republican leadership, but have been sold downriver to the Democrats.
It's a total sellout job. Look, on a lighter note, this is something that's kind of a pet project of mine that one day maybe we'll see it. What do I got to do about buying whiskey on a Sunday?
You know what? I almost tweeted about this over the weekend.
No way. Stop it.
I'm not joking. And in fact, maybe I still will, and I'll send it to you, my friend. We've got to realize at this point in 2025, there are some of our older blue laws that are just a little bit silly. You can't buy, wine at 11:59, but at noon it's okay. I mean, some of these laws are silly, outdated, and quite frankly, I'm a liberty person. I believe in freedom, and I think Texans, especially, we're talking only adults here, but adult Texans, they should really be allowed to choose when they want to buy a bottle of wine on the weekends. If
Right.
we're honest about it.
Right. If we're supposed to have the right to choose in my body, my choice or whatever, I'm not even asking for the good stuff. It could be the plastic bottle bourbon, just something on a Sunday every once in a while.
Now, you're wanting me to pass a special Boone's Farm law for you here, aren't you? You're going to buy your Boone's Farm.
Hey, don't sell me out that hard. All right, Brian Harrison, thank you very much. I appreciate the insight. Keep us updated, man, because I think you're one of the good ones down there, and I wish there was just more of them.
Oh, you're kind, my friend. Keep doing what you're doing. Expose the truth, bring transparency. Just God bless you and God bless Texas.
You coming to the Brian Kilmeade event on the 26th?
My staff is trying to make that work. We may have another commitment, but I want to be there. I love you and Brian, so we're trying to see if we can get there and do the other commitment.
I know it's not fair. You're in session during that point, so you may have more important things to do, understandably so. But I just want to put you on the spot. Thank you, sir.
We're doing our best.
All right, for the rest of you, February 26th, Brian Kilmeade's coming back to town. He does the mid-morning show on our sister station, KLIF. He came to town last summer. It was fantastic. And so from 6 to 8, there's going to be a live event. I think it's going to be broadcasts on the radio again. I didn't see that on the website, but I'm assuming so. But you can come on out there, meet Brian Kilmeade. I'll be there. Sybil and Clayton from the KLIF morning show will be there. But I mean, how cool is it to see the dude from Fox and Friends? Also, we have another contest going. It's the I Want My 80s tour featuring Rick Springfield, John Waite, Wang Chung, and Paul Young. Get tickets and information at livenation.com. But if you want to try and win tickets off of us, text the word Rick, like Rick Springfield. Text the word Rick to the same number you call in. We only give out one number, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. All right, Mark Levin's coming up next. Check out the James Show podcast when you get a chance. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.